Welcome to EP Daily. Today on the show, we head to Hyrule in the rundown.
Plus, Jose has the latest intel on Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
And then Ben and Jose are a couple of pigeon matchmakers with How to Fool Boyfriend. Also coming up, we tell you what we think of the new Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie. Marissa and I get some air and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. Ganon has kidnapped the princess, and the only thing that can save her is the rundown. We still don't know when the next big Zelda game will hit consoles, but that's not the only Hyrulean adventure on the way. The new 3DS game, The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes, will continue the adventure on October 23rd. The game was announced earlier this year at E3, and it's based around three-player co-op, where you and your friends will need to work together to solve puzzles. There's a new totem pole mechanic where all three players can stack themselves on top of each other, and thankfully, you can use AI companions if none of your friends are online. Another deadly assassin has emerged from the shadows. Ubisoft has released the first gameplay footage of Evie Frye, the new female protagonist in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Unlike her more blunt twin brother Jacob, Evie is more stealthy and likes to observe and survey her opponents before taking them on.
I think Evie adds a critical element to the assassin brotherhood, and she works very well with Jacob to make sure that they have the yin and yang. She keeps Jacob in order. She thinks things through. She doesn't go in rough. Like, she's just as badass. She kicks everybody's butt, but she's very stealthy, plans her moves, and oversees things before she can really attack.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate takes place in London at the height of the Industrial Revolution, and new technology like trains and handguns adds a new dynamic to the gameplay and the combat. It also arrives October 23rd.
Watch her closely.
Some big topics there to talk about. Assassin's Creed and Zelda. Are you kidding me? Here's Marissa Roberto to help me wade through all this stuff.
EP's own Evie.
That's right. And Evie, finally, we can talk about Evie. You've known about this lady in the Assassin's Creed universe for a long time now, and you kept it very under wraps.
Well,
good job.
I wasn't allowed to say anything.
Yes.
But no, I'm just really excited that there's a female protagonist in this game.
Yes.
It's a brother-sister duo, which I think is also an interesting dynamic. Because, you know, we've been burnt out on the whole Assassin's Creed thing.
That's well established.
A little while now. They keep releasing these games, and we keep, you know, trying to digest them.
Ubisoft is very aware of that, and I think that they're doing everything that they can to, you know, reinvigorate the franchise with this game. It is just hard to make it feel like, oh my God, it's brand new, because there is this routine in place. It's the same thing with Call of Duty, right?
So I'm hoping that this character will make it feel a little more brand new, and this dynamic will make it feel a little more brand new.
Well, we also have a new Zelda this year. It's not the Zelda that we may all be waiting for and want, but Triforce Heroes does look super interesting. I've been a big fan of their portable stuff. The Link Between Two Worlds was absolutely incredible.
So good.
I don't think that this will live up to that pedigree. But I'm excited to play this sucker.
No, you know what? I love games like this. I love when they take characters that I know and I love, and they put it into a little puzzle game like this. Very puzzly mechanics.
Reminds me a little bit of Trine or Lost Vikings.
For sure. I like that. Trine in there. I like it. But no, I'm just interested in playing this thing. I love these games where I feel like I can just jump in and play, especially on the 3DS. That's exactly what I want out of my 3DS. Out of a portable system, I should have a game like this, and I'm glad that Nintendo is releasing it.
It is cool that they try new things with this franchise. It's lots of inventiveness, lots of originality there. I think this is going to be a very solid title. Nintendo's got some good things in store for us this year.
Of course.
And we've also got Call of Duty in store for us this year. Speaking of Call of Duty, it's Black Ops 3. Here's a look.
There's a new Call of Duty coming, and it involves not one, not two, but three Black Ops. We're talking about Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Obviously, this is a huge game. People have been clamoring for more Call of Duty Black Ops. What is going to be new and fresh and delicious with Black Ops 3?
There's so much, I don't even know where to start. The thing that people notice right off the bat is our core movement set, the way that the players move and interact with the environment is really overhauled, but it's not something that's so different that it's unfamiliar. We want to make sure that we strike the right balance between keeping that familiar gameplay experience, the multiplayer experience that people had from Black Ops 2, and it's an evolution forward, so it's added on to that, and it should be a really natural progression for people. We wanted to build something that was fluid, that people could chain the movements together, they could just move through the environment freely and always stay in the fight. We had this philosophy of keeping your guns up, always guns up in battle. We want to keep players moving in full control, 360 degrees around. So if you're backing up, you bump into that cover piece, you don't have to turn around and hit the button to mantle over. Now you can just back up and mantle very fluidly and quickly.
What are some of the challenges in creating a game that feels like it should, but you're still adding so much new stuff?
There's always challenges with every game, but we always try to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, and we want to make sure that we capitalize on what the players' expectations are. We know our fan base so through and through right now. At this point in time, we've been making games for these fans for so many years that we don't know what they want yet. So we want to make sure that we give players something new that's unexpected, but also give them the experience that's familiar that they know and love. It is always a challenge, of course. It comes down to us just being creative and making sure we're making the right decisions.
Triple kill.
For all of those fans out there, what are you guys going to be bringing with multiplayer this time around?
Hopefully we're bringing a very competitive experience. It's fun and it's easily accessible, something that players are going to be able to play and stay engaged in for a long time. Black Ops 2 to date is still the most played Call of Duty game in the series, and we want to make sure that we bring those players over, play Black Ops 3, and keep doing that, keep playing that game. We talked about the new specialist system, for example. That's a really new system. Part of our motivation there was just to really create these big characters, these big personalities that players can attach to, whether they like just the way they look, whether they like their personality, their voice, their backstory, whether they like their gameplay mechanics. So each one has a unique gameplay hook that extends the theme of that character through gameplay. So it's a lot of exciting new stuff that we're bringing to the table. We want to make sure it feels like it's an evolution of Black Ops 2 into Black Ops 3.
Now, within a first-person shooter, how do you bring life to a character? How do you give them a little bit more or different emotion when it's really just you're seeing, you know, the guns for the most part?
We've done a lot of work on that front. It started with concept. We took these characters, we made these archetypes, and we said, hey, this character's based on this kind of archetype. Now let's make them Call of Duty. So we'll take that archetype from something that you might completely unexpected genre, and we're going to give them the Call of Duty treatment and make them feel like they're soldiers. They're heavy metal, strong, rugged, and we give them voices and personalities. And even in first person, you're going to hear their voices. You're going to hear their voices in first person. You're going to hear them in third person. You're going to see the characters a lot more. Our front end has all full 3D, so whatever character you've selected is going to be there, animating in action. He's going to have a few lines to say when you select him. So there's plenty of reinforcement of the characters that you like to play.
Synchronize your watches, everybody. I'll see you online November 6th. That's when Call of Duty Black Ops 3 comes out. What are you doing there?
I'm getting ready to call my pigeons.
Okay.
I'm gonna date some pigeons after this. Welcome back to EFE Daily. Scott Jones, you are a single man on the make.
Translation, I'm a little bit loneliness. I hope to meet someone. Do women still like flowers?
I think so. Have you tried any dating sites?
I have tried some of them, but I didn't find any connections there.
Okay.
What should I try now?
Well, I know you probably do like man seeking woman, but have you tried man seeking pigeon?
No.
In the future, Jose, schools have birds in them. Well, there's no really cool way to intro this game, Jose. It's about dating birds at a school for birds, but you're a person. It's Hatoful Boyfriend. I don't know how else to explain this one.
Hatoful Boyfriend. You know, in Japanese, Hatoful Hato means pigeon.
It does?
So it's like pigeon boyfriend.
Okay, well that's appropriate because this game is about, I don't think you're telling the truth.
No, I am.
Are you? It came out on the PC a while ago. Now it's on the PlayStation 4, and we have been inflicted with trying to figure out a way to talk about this game. Jose, help me out here.
First off, when you're just mentioning what the hell the premise of the game is to someone, they're probably gonna look at you like you're a crazy person. It's a game about you go to St. Pigeon Nation and you're a human. And you're trying to date birds.
Well, that's
it. That's it. I didn't realize I was a girl, so I named my guy, like, my name.
Yeah.
And
it's okay.
But it was weird because, like, I was just like, well, I didn't know I was a girl. It didn't really kind of give you that inclination that you're a girl. You're not a. You can't
Listen, times have changed, my friend. You know, sometimes we don't know that we're girls, and then we find out later we're girls, and we can change that. The moment you start questioning the logic powering Hatoful Boyfriend is the moment you will just want to run screaming away from your console. Because you just gotta ignore all of the craziness if you want to actually play the game, which
But what
requires
is there to
reading.
play?
Well,
It's just reading.
It is a lot of reading.
It should have just been a text-based adventure.
Well, I think in a pre-Telltale Games world, this would have worked as sort of a choose-your-own-adventure style game, which is all it is.
It would have worked as a choose-your-own-adventure.
Well, it would have worked
This
better.
would have worked?
It would have worked better. Because what's happened is we've played The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones and a million of these kinds of adventure games where you just make choices the whole time.
Yeah.
And those games are amazing because those choices feel like they have a huge impact and you're playing them over the course of different episodes. So I know this game might sound appealing to a certain number of people out there, but even though it's ridiculous, that doesn't mean it's awesome. Jose, we got to score it. What are you going to give Hatoful Boyfriend?
Well, for all 2 people interested in the game, I'm giving this game a point for each of you, 2 out of 10.
Ouch. Well, I'm going to wet my beak with a 3.5 and get out of here.
Somebody's a fan of the bird loving.
Note to self, play that game this weekend, and good thing you made this note.
How do you read anything on there?
It's my own private note, Marissa.
All right, let's go now to a new Norman Reedus flick. It's called Air.
Scientists, engineers, doctors being whisked away in the night. Is the government hiding these people in underground shelters?
It takes some pretty convincing actors to keep us along for a ride, especially there's only 2 of them on screen for a while, and that's exactly what's happening. In a movie called Air, the premise here is interesting because there are 2 men that we're following here, Norman Reedus and Jamin Hunsu, play these tech guys, these guys that are basically engineers. They fix this area that is housing smart people in pods that they're going to later help recreate the Earth because basically they survived a catastrophic event.
It's an apocalypse all over the Earth, and they're sort of housed inside of this abandoned missile silo, and there's all of these different areas and ducts and things like that that are interconnected, and they've got to make sure that everything is working, and then they put themselves to sleep for a while and
For
wake
6
up.
months.
Yeah, and then they wake up and they're the tech crew that makes sure that everybody survives.
You having a nightmare, buddy?
Right. So when they wake up, they have to make sure things get done, but in an hour and a half or however long it is, because their air that they can breathe will run out.
Very Lost-like. Didn't it remind you of the hatch in Lost?
Very Lost-like indeed. There are a lot of things that this movie reminded me of actually, but it seemed to be all contained, and it was all contained in this very small area. So the budget must not have been that big.
Nope, this is the
For the
first
movie.
movie that's being produced by Skybound Entertainment. Now, you know Skybound because you see that title pop up at the end of every episode of The Walking Dead. This is Robert Kirkman's production company, and of course he is the writer of the Walking Dead comic books. So this is him kind of extending his reach into Hollywood and getting movies financed like this. And it's also the directing debut of Christian Cantemesa, who's worked in the video game industry, working on cut sequences on things like Red Dead Redemption. And Norman Reedus, he's become such a powerhouse superstar
It's so
because
funny.
of The Walking Dead.
It's really so funny because he really just ends up playing the same character in everything he does.
Joe Cool.
So he's Joe Cool. So let's hire a Norman Reedus type character. Okay, let's just get Norman Reedus. So that's exactly what it seems like here. And obviously he has a relationship with Robert Kirkman.
Yeah, well, part of the problem, though, is that he's got the look for The Walking Dead, and he's in between seasons, so he can't really change who he is. He's so cool.
He's so cool all the time.
You know, he's basically a janitor in this damn movie, and he's the coolest janitor you've ever seen, you know?
For sure, yeah. And so the entertainment here comes from the dynamic between the 2 characters because they don't really know each other. They just met in this situation. So they wake up, they do their thing, they have to go back to sleep. But problems arise.
You know, people start to go a little cuckoo when they're confined like that.
All cooped up. You're eating things out of sealed bags.
Yep.
That's going to mess with your mind.
And they don't really have any other connections. They don't have any family. They've got pictures up of people that they've loved and stuff like that. I thought all of that stuff was interesting and well handled, and I thought for a first-time director, they really shot the hell out of the little areas that they had to work in, the sets
They
in the
used
in
every
the studio.
corner.
But I think when you're making a movie, and we saw this with the Fantastic Four as well, that there's an expectation that you're going to take your camera outside and do some things and show us some of the world, you know, show us some stuff. And you don't really get that in this movie.
I also have to say, I don't want to spoil anything, but I really hated the ending of this movie. It just seemed to like, okay, well, everything's going to wrap up in a nice little package then. Like, it didn't really make any sense to me why they had to end it that way. I didn't want to spoil anything, of course, but things could have just been left unsaid. I don't have a lot of positive things to say about it, but I don't have a lot of negative things to say. It's just kind of okay. It's okay.
It's okay. What are you going to give it?
well, it gets an okay score, 6.
That gets a 5 for me.
Hey Jones, have you signed that petition online to make sure that nobody kills Daryl on The Walking Dead? There's a petition for it.
I don't know who Daryl is. I'm always on the dating websites, though. And listen, up next, Vic and I go to the movies. We're going to see the new Man from U.N.C.L.E. after this.
When you hear something that sounds like a gunshot, drive.
Welcome back to EP Daily. I love going to the movies with Victor Lucas. It's kind of like spending a little time with my favorite uncle, which makes this next movie so appropriate. Here's our review of The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Is he looking at us? Does he have just one hand on the steering wheel? When you hear something that sounds like a gunshot, drive.
There's a new movie in theaters that Victor Lucas could not wait to see because his beloved Henry Cavill is in it. It is Man from U.N.C.L.E. This is directed by our old friend Guy Ritchie.
Yep.
And it does...
That's why I couldn't wait to see it. Not
Is that
so
really
much.
why?
Yeah, not Henry Cavill.
You like Henry, though.
I do.
Very handsome man.
He's proving himself as a better and better actor as time goes on.
He's like a Greek sculpture that has come to life and now can talk and move around.
Totally, but it's Guy Ritchie. I'm a big Guy Ritchie fan.
But
I've
why,
liked
though?
a lot of his
He's
movies.
made one good movie.
No, he's made Snatch, which I loved.
Nope.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking
That's the only
Barrels.
good one.
Sherlock Holmes.
Nope.
Those are the 3 that I can name off the top of my head. But that's enough to make me a fan of Guy Ritchie.
We recently discovered the existence of an international criminal organization with ties to former Nazis.
We have no choice but to work together to infiltrate this organization.
We'll leave you two to get acquainted.
Do you remember the TV show? This movie's based on a 1960s era TV show, Man from U.N.C.L.E. Do you remember this?
I do, yeah.
I know you're old.
I wasn't around when it was on TV, but I do remember watching some of the reruns, and I thought it was cool. Anything to do with the James Bond influence. There was The Saint as well. I was a fan of all of that stuff, you know? Yeah. So I've been looking forward to this movie getting made for a long time, and at one point, George Clooney was attached to be Napoleon Solo, and that's how long this movie has been in development, because obviously he's a little too past that prime age to make it a franchise, which is what Warner Brothers is hoping happens with this by attaching rising stars like Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill in the Solo role. Armie Hammer has a Russian accent in this. He plays Ilya Kuryakin, who becomes a foil and then a partner to Napoleon Solo.
That's right.
They're 2 fish-out-of-water colleagues that are forced to work together to crack a big case.
Did you deactivate the alarm?
Model 7010 doesn't have an alarm.
Loving your work, cowboy.
And there's also a lady in the film. You may recognize her. It's Alicia Vikander, and she's from earlier this year. We saw her in Ex Machina, which we both loved a lot. And the 3 of them team up, and then they do what every team up of spies do in every spy movie ever. They just travel around, and they're trying to do something which I honestly, and maybe I'm a little slow, maybe it's my fault, but I didn't really understand what they were trying to do. They had to go find the girl's father, and then they had to stop this other guy. And that's basically the plot for me.
Still no drink?
Don't you make me put you over my knee.
So you don't want to dance, but you do want to wrestle.
No, I did not say that.
You know what?
It's Guy Ritchie throwing everything in this thing.
Needs to fall under the bus here, first and foremost. But listen to me, listen to me, listen to me.
Violent.
No, listen to me.
Okay, all right.
Listen, I think Guy Ritchie is at fault here because I disagree. We disagree all the time, but I think he made one good movie, and that was it. Nope. This movie is Guy Ritchie doing his. This movie is a celebration of all of Guy Ritchie's weaknesses. It's like a music video from the late '80s that looks like it might also be a cologne ad, and it's just like he's playing music and he's making kinetic things happen, but none of it means anything, and so you just kind of drift off. I mean, that's what I did in the theater. I don't even know what this plot was about.
It's just a bunch of jump cuts and noise and split-screen elements.
It's all cliches from so many much better movies. I cannot watch this movie and not think of Casino Royale. And what a triumph that was. Yeah. Forget Ocean's 11. That's not a great movie. 3 Days of the Condor, really North by Northwest. There's so many terrific spy movies.
Yes.
This is not a terrific spy movie.
All the elements were in place, though. I think he got a good cast. I still liked the style of this thing. I know it is style over substance.
I don't even want to stand next to you right
but
now.
It is a movie that really ultimately fails because it doesn't deliver enough, and there are so many superior spy capers to pull from.
So, Vic, I need a score from you.
I'm giving it a 5.
Oh.
What are you giving it?
Giving it a 3.
Okay.
Sweet man that he is, my uncle Victor Lucas took me out for an ice cream after the movie. Up next is the Twitter question of the day after this.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Electric Playground. It's time for our Twitter question of the day. This one's from our old friend Gervais B-A at GBA95 Sonic.
Oh my God.
94 must have been taken, and Mario might have been taken. Anyways, do you think Beanox will make any more Spider-Man games? I heard there are some legal, I think he means licensing issues now.
Oh, yeah, because we did enjoy the last game from Beanox.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we felt it was undercooked.
Yeah, a little rushed out, but they're a solid team, and they understand the character. They've done some good work with Spider-Man, specifically Shattered Dimensions, which is incredible. I would love a Shattered Dimensions 2.
Yeah.
I would like Beanox to keep going with this, but now Beanox is an Activision-owned studio. They had a deal with Sony. Sony and Marvel, which is owned by Disney, own the rights to future Spider-Man creations. Marvel has its own video game division through Disney. They also have Disney Infinity. It's very complicated now, which is crazy.
My brain hurts, Victor Lucas.
Yes.
What are you doing to me? No, but I'm glad you've sorted that out. I
Maybe
get it.
Marvel should just buy Beanox from Activision, let them work on Spider-Man stuff. Let me
Problem solver.
solved it
right
all
here.
for you right there. Good question. If you've got one for us, hit up our website, epn.tv, where you can also watch full episodes of the show.
Tighten those neckties, too, because next week we've got a closer look at Hitman Agent 47.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox. EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Asphalt 8 Airborne, which you can play on your Android or iOS device for free right now.
I've run your face and your prints through every database we have. You know what we found? Nothing. So, why don't we start with your name?
47.
It's not a name.
No, but it is mine.